We have two political parties that don't help or care about us. You have the MAGA white supremacist party that worships an antichrist full of a bunch of white supremacist, white victims that need to fight culture wars to maintain their ignorance and stupidity. And you have the do-nothing Democrats. Hakeem Jeffries with no backbone. You got Chuck Schumer, who's a damn dinosaur and should be put in Jurassic Park, that do nothing except strongly worded letters and fold every time you want them to fight for you. You have one party setting the house on fire and another party watching it burn. Who's more complicit? They both are. There's only one way that this stops. And if you look throughout the course of this world, it's through either a general strike or a wildcat strike. A wildcat strike is just going against the will of the unions. You can protest on a Saturday every couple of months. That's cute. You can not spend and cancel Disney. I think that's great. You can call in sick for a couple days. You can call your senators. You can call your congressmen. You can write them letters. That's cute. But what is it doing? Nothing. You cannot stop fascism from sitting on your couch. And there's too many people right now that are sitting in their life of luxury, but hiding behind their privilege because the darkness hasn't come over them. I was thinking about Martin Luther King the other day. What if he said, I'm not going to give my speech because I don't want to lose my job? What if Rosa Parks didn't sit on the bus because she didn't want to lose her job? What if Harriet Tubman didn't start the Underground Railroad because she didn't want to lose her job? What if John Lewis didn't cross the bridge because he didn't want to lose his job? I understand the financial burden. I've been there. I had to walk 7 miles to work to and from because I couldn't even afford a bicycle. I was broke. I've been there and it sucks. And I am not downplaying that. But the cost of doing nothing is way worse than what's going to happen if we just let this happen. Whether we like it or not, we're on our own right now as a people. We have to be willing to come together and shut this down. What does that look like? This is what you do. You stop working. You stop paying federal taxes and you protest every day until our demands are met. You reverse Citizens United. You remove the president and his white supremacist vice president, J.D. Vance's little lapdog. You make minimum wage $15 an hour. You put term limits on Congress and the Supreme Court. You reinstate Roe versus Wade, and you put in safe gun reform, a background check, a waiting period, and safe gun storage. And you go through a safety course. If we're not going to do those things, what's the purpose of continuing in this experiment? Because as long as money is being pumped into our government, you know who gets screwed? Us. And if we don't stop this now, more and more and more wealth is going to go to the rich people, and we're going to be poor. You remember Potter from It's a Wonderful Life? That's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to be living in the slums. And then when we lose our jobs, you know who buys the houses? Rich people. Investors from China and Japan. And then we're all paying ridiculous wages, and we will never have generational wealth. Now is the time. And I had a conversation with Eric Swalwell, congressman, about a strike.
So as far as this goes, do you think other people of Congress would be on board with this?
I think you're going to find my colleagues, like, they want to know, like, what does this do to help us win? Not like just acts of demonstration, which are important, but, like, as I said, does this river connect to the larger body of water, which is winning the midterms, stopping these inhumane policies? So if it's a general strike that, like, has a goal of, like, registering X amount of people to vote and getting X amount of people to pledge, to engage in the midterms, like, I think that aligns more with, like, where we're focused right now. Like, shutting things down for the sake of shutting it down, I don't think that gives him, I think, the justification he wants to put martial law in place. And we would have done it doing it without any organizing approach doesn't help us win and hold him accountable in 2026.
So do you think that basically the Democratic Party would only endorse this if it helps them in the midterms? Is that kind of what you're saying? Is it, did I miss it? I'm asking for clarification.
No, it's, as I said, and sorry, I've got another meeting that I got to hop into.
No,
to me, it's,
sorry.
There's four legs that hold up democracy: a check by Congress, an independent judiciary, a free press, and a full town square. The check by Congress is gone.
Yep.
But democracy can still, the table of democracy can sit on three legs. So it's supporting cases that go to the courts. It's helping the free press, especially independent journalists, and it's going to the town square. And that can buy us the time to win the midterms and then put that check in place. Because if the check in Congress is not in place, if he beats us in the midterms, I think he completely collapses the independent judiciary, squashes the free press, and suppresses the town square. And that's full dictatorship. And so then it's gone.
Now, I like Eric Swalwell. Does that strike you as a person that's going to do anything that he can to fight for you and me? Or does that sound like somebody that's fighting to keep his job and maintain the Democratic majority? He's clearly saving his own ass. And even earlier in that interview, we know what he told me? I could only do as much as Hakeem Jeffries tells me. Your job is not to serve your daddy. Your job is to serve us, the American people. Your job is not to make sure you get reelected. Your job is to fight for us. And today I heard Swalwell, when we have the Democratic majority next year, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Really? That's cute. Oh, you think we're going to have a democracy next year? You think we're going to have free and fair elections? That's cute. So again, what are the Democrats doing? The Democrats are watching the House burn to the ground, expecting you and I just to vote for them. Their platform is, we're not MAGA, vote for us. There's a reason they have a 19% approval rating. And I am being hard on the Democrats because I expect this from the party of white supremacy. I expect it. They have no backbone, no courage. They're going to have their judgment day when they stand before God and they worship their orange antichrist. They'll have their day. I know God will deal with them. I was expecting the Democrats to be the opposition party, and they are MIA. Nowhere to be found. So that really brings us back to the point. We're on our own. If you're not willing to stop working and shut this country down, then don't complain. In the movie V is for Vendetta, he went into the control room and he played the video. And he says, people, I understand you're scared, but don't blame the politicians. You allowed this to happen. But through their silence, through their complicity. Metaphorically, I want you to think about what happened with George Floyd and that piece of shit cop that put his knee on his neck. There was 3 officers that stood by and watched it happen. And right now, many of us are doing it because we're not the guy on the ground. We don't want to lose our jobs. We can't afford to. I get it. You can't afford not to. Think of it this way. You're on a boat, okay? And you have 7 days worth of food. And you see an island. And you have no oars and you're just sitting there like, this is really bad. Do I swim to the island or do I stay here knowing that I have 7 days worth of food? And many people are saying, I'm going to stay here with 7 days worth of food. And you have that right to do it. And you're going to eat that food and 7 days later, you're like, cool, now I'm going to the island. And you look around and the island's not there because you drifted out to sea. Are you going to stay in the lifeboat for 7 days and just live off of the crumbs that the rich people are allowing us to have? Or are you going to fight back? I'm not a politician, and we have a lack of leadership. And in an absence of leadership, it's going to be people like me and people like you that stand up and say, we've had enough of this. But if you're not willing to stop working and stop paying taxes and actually do something, then don't bitch and complain about this system. I can't, I won't, that won't work, that. Don't give me excuses. I want results. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, then don't complain about the politicians that you put in office, because you're unwilling to get off the couch and turn off Netflix and fight fascism. The only way I know to do that is through a general strike. I started a petition. We have almost 5,000 people on there. That's the only way I know how to do this. 2025strike.com is the website. I'll put it below. Where are you going to be in 20 years? Are you going to look back and say, well, it sucks that fascism's here, that we don't have free speech, that I can't speak out and say anything I want to say, but I really couldn't afford to lose my job back then, while you're sitting on a tent 20 years later? The choice is ours. Who do you want to be remembered by? How are our kids going to remember us? Did we choose uncomfort? Or did we just stay behind our privilege?